So this session is, we describe it as the best of ELG, and the idea of this session, excuse me, hear me. The idea of this session is to do a bit of a showcase of some of the really nice examples of services and tools and resources that have been contributed to the European language grid by some of the pilot projects and some sort of external third parties. We've got a number of speakers with us today. I think we have 2 speakers who will be joining me on stage, and another 4 who you can see on the screen here will be joining us remotely. I have Manuel Herranz from Pangianic in Spain. I have Jörg Tiedemann from the University of Helsinki in Finland, who will be talking about their translation services. Igor Laturia from Elhuyar in the Basque country will be talking about their Basque language speech recognition and text-to-speech services that they developed as part of their pilot project. I've got Gareth Watkins from Bangor University, who will be talking about some tools for the Welsh language that they've contributed. Svetlakova from the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences will be talking about the multilingual image corpus that has been created, again, in one of the pilot projects. And then to round things off, I've got Tina Lindkunitila from Linksoft in Finland, who will be talking about a project called Microservices for Your Service. So I'll just start off with a quick couple of slides myself before I hand over to the first presenter. Thank you. If I could just have my slides on the... Thank you. So this is a graph which Georg showed in his opening presentation this morning. ELG is definitely growing up. We've got over 12,000 tools and resources, 1,700 projects and organisations in the catalogue at the moment, which is quite a pleasing result, certainly for us at the project. The project started in 2019 with just a few hundred services and resources that came from our own project partners. Starting mid-2020, this was expanded by the addition of services from some of the pilot projects, and where we started harvesting metadata from remote repositories. But now we're actually starting to see other projects actively choosing the European language grid as their dissemination channel for quite a number of different reasons, maybe to improve visibility among the language technology community as a whole, maybe to make use of the standardization, the standardized APIs and formats that we've developed as part of the ELG, or to be just to tap into the pool of technical knowledge and best practice that's been developed by the ELG team during the course of the project. So this session aims to showcase some particularly interesting examples of resources and services that have been contributed to the ELG platform by various organisations, and also a couple of examples of external tools that make use of ELG provided services to integrate them into other applications. So the examples that we're going to talk about today, as I say, we've got a couple of projects that are about raising the profile of minority languages within the language technology community. So we've got Igor Laturia from the Basque country talking about their project involving the Basque language. I've got Gareth from Bangor who will be talking a bit about their resources and tools for the Welsh language. We keep talking about language, but of course language doesn't just mean words. So one of the pilot projects that we funded through the ELG was to produce this multilingual image corpus, which is a corpus of images that have been labelled in many different languages, because image labels are themselves language data. If you want to be able to search for images, you need to be able to, they need linguistic data attached to them. There's a couple of people talking about machine translation tools. So I've got Manuel who will talk about NTEU, which is a project for doing translation among all of the EU official languages. And then Jörg Tiedemann will talk about the OPUS-MT, which is a project to build translation models from public data, publicly available parallel data. And then the final, well, cluster, single example that we're going to have talking to you is third parties starting to adopt ELG as their sort of standard platform. And this is a project called Microservices at Your Service, which Tina will talk about later on. So there are dozens of other examples we could have chosen, but obviously time is limited, so this is just going to be a brief 5-minute summary of each project. Please save your questions till the end, or if you're online, you can submit questions through the chat or through the Q&A tool. We are monitoring those, and we'll hopefully have time for a few questions at the end of the session. We'll just see how we go for time. But without further ado, I will hand over to Manuel, who will be joining me on stage here to talk about the NTEU project and MAPA, which is Multilingual Anonymisation for Public Administrations. Manuel, just the right arrow to step forward.
Yeah, right, okay. Thanks, everyone. Very short, 5 minutes. I'll present not only NTEU, but also MAPA, which is anonymization software and has been recently integrated into ELG. So NTEU meant that 3 leading companies, machine translation companies, got together to produce the first neural all-into-all translation grid from the 24 European languages. It meant 500 and so engines into combinations that were sometimes quite challenging. The results were tested versus Google in the domain of public administrations, which is quite large, with very satisfactory results. The data that we used is also available as Corpus download, which is downloadable at ELG. And I think there is a video here that you produce, Ian. I just press, so you see how you. Okay. And you can see how easy it is to access any of these and even download the engines themselves and deploy them at public administrations. I have to warn that the engines are customized for public administrations. They're not general purpose engines, but they produce quite good results. I have to admit. Everything is Dockerized, so implementation is very straightforward. Okay. Next one, MAPA, stands for Multilingual Anonymization for Public Administrations. Everything that we do at Pangeanic is deeply multilingual. So MAPA is again the first multilingual anonymization software running on BERT and specialized in the field of public administration documentation. It provides GDPR compliance. It already has useful use cases in Spain at the Spanish Ministry of Justice, at European level at the Ombudsman and DG Justice in the 27 European countries. And the software is available. You can run, well, the video was too short. Go back again. No, it's not running. But MAPA is available as a tool within ELG. You can provide text snippets for it to detect named entities and get the snippet back into your system. So here's a short example of how entities are recognized: dates, place names, etc. The work comes from a massive annotation, manual annotation, in some cases to fully customize with real live documents from real public administrations on the stuff that they need anonymized. So it works very, very well in legal. I know in Spain, the Ministry of Justice has customized it to detect entities like nicknames that were not part of our project. But altogether, both projects are now integrated and successfully can be successfully used by yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Manuel. And yes, as I said, the 500 NTEU translation models. I think we've got 180 of them are live already, and the remainder will hopefully go live in the next couple of weeks or so. That's where we stand with that in ELG. So thank you very much again, Manuel. So the next speaker will be from the OPUS-MT pilot project. Jörg Tiedemann from the University of Helsinki will talk a bit about their tools and resources for open translation services. So I think Jörg is online. Are you able to?
Hello? Hello from Helsinki, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, thank you, Jörg.
Okay,
we can't see your face yet, but we can hear you.
So there was already quite a lot about machine translation and machine translation projects integrated into ELG. OPUS-MT is also one of those. So we have been one of the pilot projects in the first phase of the ELG pilot projects. OPUS-MT itself is a bigger project, ongoing thing where we want to build public LMT models and tools, provide them freely for everyone to use, and try to really cover a lot of languages. This is basically driven by OPUS data, publicly available data that we collect in OPUS. So there's a lot of different domains available there, but especially also different kinds of languages, and we try to push this to the limits, really systematically creating models that can be used and integrated in lots of different platforms. And within the ELG project, we made the integration into the ELG infrastructure, as you have seen already demonstrated. So really nice to see that it works also with the kind of Python interfaces and so on. And in this project that we had as a pilot project, we focused on European languages, especially some European minority languages, and the integration, of course. This is some pictures of the teams here, and maybe also just showing that there's a lot of other kinds of projects that take advantage of the developments. But maybe we can go to the next slide. Just a bit of more background. So the system that we use is basically, it's based on Marianne NMT, which we use for training, but also for decoding, a very efficient framework for neural machine translation. We have then Dockerized the implementation to make it deployable at ELG, but also otherwise. There's this API that can be called, as you have seen. And we also publish the training pipelines, basically, and everything that we use for creating models. There's plenty of models that you can download, multilingual and bilingual ones, and we will continue this kind of effort. So this is also something that you can follow outside of ELG, but the integration into ELG will continue. And let's go to the last slide from this deck here. So just to quickly show that there's lots of things like connected to ELG, but we also make integration into Hugging Face to make it very simple to use it programmatically also through their API. We have our own kind of demo interfaces where you can check the translation. And then there's also one part of the project is the development of integration into professional workflows. So computer-assisted translation tools. And you can see a little screencast here coming up. There should be some sound. Otherwise, Tommy has to comment.
There are many OPUS-MT models running in ELG. We can use these to generate machine translations. And one way to use these engines in ELG is to use one of our plugins for translation tools. I'll demonstrate this quickly with our plugin for Trados Studio. So we simply add OPUS-Cat plugin to the project, and we select European language grid as the source of machine translation. Then we generate a success code in order to authenticate with ELG. Of course, you have to be registered in ELG to do this. Then we paste this code into the plugin, and then the plugin checks that the model is available for this language direction. And the light is green, so it does exist, and we can save this plugin settings and start translating with the ELG models, ELG engines in our translation tool.
So, yes, I think that's from our side. So thanks for your attention, and if there's questions, you can ask me later.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jürgen. I do particularly like the nice integration that you're able to show between OPUS-Cat and ELG services. And again, this is another nice show that these ELG services, they're not just the nice little tryout window in the ELG catalogue, they are actually being used in, in real-world applications. So thank you very much for that, Jörg, and a very interesting talk. Thank you.
There are many.
Okay, so our next speaker will be Igor Lituria from the Elhuyar Foundation in the Basque Country, and he will talk about Basque language speech recognition and speech synthesis as part of the Mycroft Smart Speaker project. Igor, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, my name is Igor Lituria. Next slide, please. My name is Igor Lituria and I come from the Elhuyar Foundation, which is a non-for-profit organization working in the promotion of the Basque language in the areas of science and technology. And among many other things, we also do research and development in speech and language technologies. And our pilot project inside the pilot project program of ELG was a project to build or develop a Basque smart speaker based on the open source Mycroft AI project. So we at Elhuyar, we have got Basque ASR and TTS technology. So what we did was join Mycroft software to make use of our ASR and TTS service, and we also did improvements to our technology. We improved the ASR for noisy environments, such as those you can find in a smart speaker usual normal use. And then we also developed a neural TTS for Basque with a gender neutral voice. So we localized Mycroft to Basque, also more than 40 of its skills, and then we also developed some local skills. Next slide, please. So, and we also, by the way, we also put our ASR and TTS technologies in ELG. They are some demos which work as proxies that call our online services. These demos are, well, limited in time or text length and calls per day. No commercial use is allowed. It's only for evaluation purposes and research, but through the terms of use, you can reach the online service where you can have a extension for the limit and you can do a commercial use of it using the web interface or the API. And in the case of the ASR, we also offer not just a transcription of a video or audio, we also offer subtitles which you can edit through an interface and then use machine translation to translate them to various languages and many other things. I don't know if now is the moment to show the screencast or... Okay, no, before the... well, we would like to point out the benefits that the ELG has for us. Well, for us, for Elhuyar, it gives visibility to our services. ELG is a great global display or showcase of European language technology tools and services. It gives visibility to our company itself also. And then we also, as Elhuyar, we also benefit the ELG as users because it has a great search engine for technologies and resources with great filtering options. We can get an idea of existing resources and tools for Basque or for other languages we work with, and we get lots of information from it. And then, well, we also think that the European language grid, it's great for, it's a good thing for the European language technology. It's a global and I'd say quite a thorough display of all existing European language technologies, tools and resources, and it gives you also the option to try many of those services. So it's something like that. And we had a screencast of our tool. Okay, so this is in the ASR you can upload an audio or a video file, and then you submit it, and in some seconds you obtain its
Hainbat
transcription.
aldiz entzun duzu elkarren artean loturik eta koordinaturik diharduten hainbat aparatuk edo sistemak osatzen dutela gure organismoa.
And then for the TTS, we can get some text. In this case, I have copied and pasted that same text, and you can obtain a synthesized audio.
Hainbat aldiz entzun duzu elkarren artean loturik eta koordinaturik diharduten hainbat aparatuk edo sistemak osatzen dutela gure organismoa.
Okay, so this is all from my part. I will attend any questions you have at the end of the rest of the presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Igor. So that was Igor Latoria talking about Basque language. So while we're on the subject of EU minority languages, I will hand over to Gareth Watkins from the University of Bangor, who will talk about their tools and resources for Welsh.
Hello, as you've heard, my name's Gareth. I'm here representing Bangor University's Language Technologies unit today. The unit is a self-funded research unit, and as you would imagine, language technology is of one of our main interests. We research and develop speech technologies, as well as text technologies and translation technologies and tools. We're also involved in terminology standardization, and we've produced many electronic terminological resources. It's important, as you'd imagine, that we keep an eye on recent technological developments, and of course the European Language Grid is one of the tools that we use to do that, but I'll come back to that point in a moment. We have over 60 resources published by us on the ELG, and the link to our space on the ELG site is at the bottom of the slide there if you want to check out our tools. Now, I personally joined the unit about 2.5 years ago as part of the text, speech and translation technologies for the Welsh Language Project. As you can see, hopefully on the slide, it's a Welsh Government-funded project which aims to develop NLP, speech and translation technologies, as you'd imagine, for the Welsh language. The project is part of the Welsh Government's objective of increasing the number of Welsh language speakers by to 1 million by the year 2050. As part of the project, we have created several corpora, a CC0 licensed lexicon, language models, ASR and TTS. So hopefully next we'll have a video showing you... No? Okay, there'll be a video later. Okay, so how does the ELG platform help us? Well, Welsh is a minoritized language, which has never been an official EU language. So the opportunity to communicate with other languages and language communities, minoritized or otherwise, the opportunity to be able to share with and learn from other languages and communities is a great opportunity, and one that I think will be of benefit to everyone involved. How so? Well, as a minoritized language, the ELG allows us to quantify our resources, so to see where we're at. It allows us to compare our resources with those of similar languages, and indeed with the state-of-the-art tools from the major and minoritized languages. It therefore allows us to identify gaps in our provision, and ultimately to learn from the workflows or techniques or technologies produced by other languages. And of course, by sharing our resources, we allow other communities to quantify, compare, identify and learn from us. Although we have our own national portal, the ELG also has the advantage that it's one central Europe-wide space. Now, this allows us to show our resources and tools to an international audience, and makes it easier for developers to find and use multilingual resources, which can only be a good thing from the point of view of a minoritized language such as Welsh.
The first tool I'd like to show you is our Welsh ASR. It uses a Mozilla Deep Speech Engine trained with the Welsh dataset from Mozilla Common Voice. This tool can be directly accessed from within the ELG platform, here. If we scroll down, we can record audio like this. Hello, sit oitsi. We then click on Stop Recording, and then choose Submit. The system then processes speech, and as we can see, the audio has been converted to text. We've also created a Welsh language lexicon. We released it under the CC0 license in the hope that it will stimulate the development of Welsh language technologies. It's available to download from here.
And that's it from me. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you again to Gareth, and another very illuminating presentation about how the ELG is able to help minority language communities to become more visible in the wider European sphere. My next speaker is another of our ELG pilot projects. This time we're going to be talking about resources rather than services. And I have here with me on stage Svetla Koiva from the Bulgarian Academy of Science, who will talk about multilingual image corpus.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ian. I'm very glad that I'm here and have the opportunity briefly to present our work. Multilingual image corpus was developed at the Department of Computational Linguistics, which is part of the Institute for Bulgarian Language at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. The multilingual image corpus is a dataset which contains thousands of images and object annotations, which are distributed in 4 thematic domains, which are sport, security, transport, and arts. The images are collected from different repositories, and the conditions were the repositories to provide APIs and also to provide images with free copyright. We developed an ontology of visual objects, which consists of 706 visual classes of visual objects. And the annotators actually had to outline polygons for objects' boundaries and classify objects. We use the COCO annotator for the annotation. To accelerate the annotation process, we develop an image processing pipeline, and we automatically predict the object boundaries and the object classes. For this, we use 2 frameworks, Detectron 2 and YOACT, and also RCNN mask trained or COCO dataset. In many times, the annotators have to actually just delete or redraw the automatically predicted annotations. And also, in many times, the annotators have to provide their own annotations for object boundaries. We translated the object classes, their synonyms, definitions, and some examples in 25 languages. For this, we use basically WordNet, but in some cases, we also use BabelNet and machine translation. At the end, we have over 21,000 of images and over 200,000 annotations. And the dataset can be used for object classification, semantic segmentation, and also for image caption detection, image to text alignment, and many different tasks. And this is the pre-recorded At the ELG platform, you can search for the multilingual image corpus using the free text bar. All outcomes of the project are there. Let us go first to the view page of the dataset. You can see the overview, description, keywords, domains, as well as some other information. The second tab includes the terms of use and some technical details. In our case, the 4 parts of the dataset are downloadable from the ELG platform: the images, the resized images, the metadata, and the object annotations. In addition, the related language resources are linked in the ELG catalog. Let us follow the hyperlink to the view page of the ontology of visual objects. The ontology contains 706 concepts representing visual objects, their hypernyms, and relations between concepts. Ontology can be downloaded from the ELG platform, and it is also related with other 3 resources. Let us go now to the multilingual description of images in 25 languages. All ontology classes, their synonyms, the definitions of concepts, as well as some examples, have been translated into 25 languages. The resource is downloadable from the ELG platform, and again, we can directly access the records of other outcomes of the project. Next is the framework for running and evaluation of the multilingual image corpus models. The framework is based on the 51 application. We offer 130 models which generate bounding boxes and segmentation masks. All sources and models are downloadable from different repositories. The annotations, metadata, ontology, multilingual descriptions, and models are available on Creative Commons. The user can directly follow the link to the demonstration of the framework. The 51 interface allows construction of various queries over the datasets and the evaluation of the automatic annotation at a particular image. We develop an upload and the API functionality for processing new images with the dataset models. And in the end, we would like to stress that the ELG platform guarantees the long-term maintenance of the multilingual image corpus dataset, thus ensuring its further development and reuse. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for that, Svetla. So that was an example of a data resource that's been produced as part of the ELG pilot scheme, and the point being that, as I say, language grid includes a lot more than just words, just text, just audio. Images are an important part of that as well. So, excuse me. So the final speaker now on this section is Tina from Linksoft, who will be talking about Project Microservices at Your Service, which is a project independent of ELG, but who has chosen to use ELG as their kind of platform and dissemination mechanism. So, Tina, the floor is yours. Just tell me when you want me to advance the slides.
Yes, please. If you. Okay. So, can I get the first slide visible? Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So, thank you, everybody. It is really my pleasure to introduce the Microservices project to you. And basically, we are a kind of Connecting Europe facility-funded project, which will be providing at least 40 tools as easily integratable microservices to the ELG. And our project partners are Gradient from Spain, Linksoft from Finland, Reykjavik University from Iceland, and University of Tartu from Estonia. So we have quite a bit of Europe covered, and we'll have this officially in our plan. We had these 11 languages. But then we had a possibility to add local languages, so there will also be tools in Galician, Basque, and Catalan provided by Gradient. And basically, those tools that we make, they will be we will be providing both images in Docker Hub or downloadable from the ELG, and then whenever possible. Easily kind of tested services so that they are running on ELG's Kubernetes environment and can be directly also tested from ELG. But then obviously providing these tools to ELG is not a one-way street, but ELG is also giving us quite a bit of help. So they have a large network of communication channels those tool developers, when they are working with us, often there are some tools that for which the development has ended, but some other tools we are kind of working side by side with the original developers, so they can also get feedback from the users and from the ELG on how their inputs and outputs and error messages should be structured already in the original tool and not just in the kind of container. There are all these software development kits and test scripts, and then we've also gotten, especially from Ian, a lot of help in debugging and making these services available. And we, of course, have our dissemination channels of our own, and we'll be hosting workshops, and more dissemination workshops are coming. But we have also got an ELG collaboration in the most recent workshop already, and for which we are very thankful. So these are the puzzle pieces we have in the ELG so far. So there's already named entity recognition in Norwegian, Swedish and Icelandic, machine translation, sentiment analysis, all kinds of general NLP analysis and lemmatizing tools, text-to-speech tools, and subject indexing. And then there are a lot more on their way. So the project is a 2-year project. It will end in February 2023. So this end of this year will be kind of a big effort for us to both advertise these tools, and we will be having workshops dedicated to show how these tools work. And of course, then they will all be in the end in the ELG and available elsewhere. Thank you. And then the next slide. Yeah, so basically, next up, I'll have a short demonstration. Whoops, can you get back to the, oh, okay. So here's the demonstration. Okay, not yet. So if I can say a few words, so there will be a short demonstration video about those tools. I got a little greedy, so there's plenty of tools and a very short kind of click here and what you get out of them. So we'll put a kind of a more slow-paced version of this video on our project website. So the project has its own website, and then of course the European Language Grid website, under which all of these tools either are or will be. So go and please test them. And then there's now the video, which doesn't have sound because I wasn't quite sure if it will carry, but let's just kind of quietly watch it for a moment. But as you can see, once the models are loaded, these work quite fast. And you can find all these entities there. And it slightly depends on which entities are found with NER tool. So this one doesn't have, for example, now the time, location, person, but no time. So these are based on the original two specifications, obviously. And then, for example, this Finnish subject indexing tool is such that this is a proxy which links to the tool hosted elsewhere. But what is also nice that then you can also link to the original ontology with more tools and stuff like that. And then these tools will be on ELG soon, not quite yet. and that's it from me. But I'm available for questions, and then of course send me email if you are interested in the project or want to be part of the next workshops. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Tina. So just a kind of final summary from me, if you like. I think it's clear from what we've seen in this session that ELG now supports a wide variety of different resource types and service types. We've just scratched the surface in this session with what's available now. And the APIs mean that you can integrate the ELG services into third-party tools such as OPUS-MT that we've just seen. But I think you'll agree that ELG is finally becoming the primary platform and marketplace for language technology in Europe. And this is down to you, our community of users and providers, as much as anything else. So thank you to all of you. Now, I don't know, have we got time for a few questions at this point? No, I think we're already over time, I'm afraid, for the lunch break. So, but thank you. And if you do have any questions, obviously we can get contact details for any of the presenters, and you can ask questions of them directly, or find any of us in the coffee breaks and so on. But thank you all for listening, and we'll be back this afternoon with the next session.